Hi there, I'm Willie Wormhead, a knit designer specialising in knitted hats, technique and construction. Today I'm going to share with you a tutorial for managing long floats in sideways colourwork hats, which I tend to do a few of. And this one in particular is looking at long floats when you manage them after the fact in unusual situations. Now, if you've knit any of my convergence hats, they are sideways knit mosaic colourwork hats. That meant I had to employ some unusual techniques to get the mosaic colourwork to play nicely with the short rows. And it was really fun to design, and they're really fun to knit as well. But there is one hat, this one, that's called Uprising, that has some long floats that happen between these points down here. All right. Now, the tutorial that I'm going to share with you was originally recorded in 2019 for my patrons. So it doesn't have the kind of like little fancy window of me sitting at the top talking through. But I think it's going to be really, really useful for you to see how I manage it. And they are what I call kind of like, I don't know, there isn't a name for this as a common technique. It's managing long floats after the fact, and then you can apply it in other situations as well. So I hope you find it helpful.
I wanted to talk to you about a design I'm working on and a technique that I've been trying to work through, because it doesn't just apply to what I've got here. It's also going to be helpful, I think, for the elementals and the short row colour work, anywhere where you're carrying floats in a kind of half intarsia, half other colour work way with more sideways knits, which is, I don't know, I keep trying to put some of these strange things together and they work. I mean, this one is it's isn't an all over mosaic like the other ones that I've been working on that I showed previously. This one is part mosaic, part short rows. The reason being is, as you can see, the mosaic motif here, and also let me just put it around there as well. I've just started the third panel here, so you can see that you've got this line that comes through with all these spirals that come off it like a little spiral tree kind of thing. But obviously you've got this space here at the crown. So this is mosaic up until this point, and then I work a bunch of short rows around the mosaic integrated with it. It's not completely around. It's not like the mosaic happens and the short rows go around it. The short rows kind of fit into the end of the mosaics here. And similarly, you've got short row shaping here at the brim. This one has been quite an interesting challenge because the mosaic isn't balanced. To try and most mosaic knitting patterns are not balanced. In terms of how many stitches are knit and how many slipped. So when I do my short row colour work, I put a lot of time into making sure that the fabric is balanced, i.e. every stitch has the same amount of rows worked except for the crown shaping, so it's all incorporated, but it's still got the same integrated crown shaping formula. So the fabric is all completely balanced as it should be. You can do that with mosaic knitting. However, to try and do it with the sideways knits and to incorporate the short rows was just one hell of a mess, and it was just proving not impossible, but close. But it's something I want to try in future. But right now, that's actually not been my priority to make the fabric balanced. However, I have been trying to make it balanced towards the crown where I can. But because of that, it means that there's some fabric inequalities going on. So you can see these little bits here where it's pulled in. That's just where the slip stitches went straight into the provisional cast on. But it actually is not particularly unbalanced. So it's working out all right. It's quite different from the others that I've done, as I say, because it's not all over mosaic, which means that also to get the short rows in at the brim edge, I've had to do a little bit of kind of like intarsia, gust stitch intarsia sideways, which you would have done a bit in, say, Azula has got some. There's even a tiny little bit in the Rhinebeck. Cora has got a little bit, but it's more noticeable in Azula because you've got a similar shaping like this, so you can see that the mosaic starts here at this point, but it doesn't start here until this point. So this is kind of more regular, just garter stitch with short rows in for the shaping. So the second colour, the second yarn, has had to jump start points, as you can see, and that's reflected on the back. Now for this bit here, so I'm literally I'm right at this. I've turned it all the way around. I'm about to start this section here, so we're right at the beginning of the panel. And so because this row occurs before this one, previously yarn B, the second colour, whatever we want to call it, had finished there, and then I've had to bring it all the way over to here to start this. We go, sorry, I keep rotating, so I'm sorry if I'm confusing. So to be able to knit this row here, this row of colour sections here, I had to bring the yarn from here, which is the end of this one, up to here so that I could start the next section of the mosaic pattern. And in between, this is all the main colour, the background colour, whatever, with the short rows integrated in between, which you can't really see because they're kind of quite well hidden next to the mosaic. And also this is nice dark purple, which is really good for hiding short rows. But what that means is, because we finished there, we had to bring our yarn over here. We've got this bit of a float here. Now, I didn't try and tighten it too much. You don't want to, because it's sideways knit and you need to have that much give as you can in the fabric. Even though this is part of the body in the mosaic, it doesn't have a huge amount of give. It's still important to keep it there. It's still actually kind of got, that's not bad really. Look at that little spirals moving spirals. Anyway, sorry. What I have done to manage this float, because if we go back over here, you can see this is the same section here, sorry. All right, no, that's another section. There's one here. We haven't got to that bit yet because that's the center of the spiral tree, that line, but there will be another point where it happens there. So this bit here is this bit here, all right, which is also this bit here. Now, what I'm doing to manage this, and as I say, you'll see this in the short row colourwork again, because it's that half combined Intarsia short row colourwork methods where you have to kind of keep moving the yarn around. To manage this ridiculously long float, because you don't want it left on the back there, and you certainly don't want to keep cutting all your ends and then weaving them in, because that's such a chore and you don't want to be doing that. Also using more yarn, you know. So if I'm thinking frugal brain here, I carry as much floats as I can, as many floats as I can, because I don't want to keep wasting yarn on cutting it and weaving in ends. No. So we are about to, we're on the wrong side. We've come back. We've just slipped those two because obviously it's the second row of the mosaic, and we're ready to start knitting again here. So I'll come knit 1, 2. All right. I'm sorry. My knitting style is English thrower. I'm really messy knitter. It doesn't look like it, I know, but I am. So what we've got here, oops, that stitch is run the wrong way. Reorientate that. What we've got is this really long float, which we want to try and catch. We couldn't catch it on the way up because obviously we hadn't knitted those stitches yet, so there was nothing to catch it on of the same colour or anything. But what we can do now is, and you can do this with a hook as well as my needle. Sorry, that sound was just like the princess going out of her special door out of the studio, because she wonders what on earth I'm doing sitting here talking to the phone without anybody else speaking back. Put this in. So I'm going through that stitch there, okay? To say there wasn't an opportunity to do this on the way out, so on the way back we can do it. Put this in here and I'm going to catch that float. You can do this on this stitch, roughly halfway, whichever's most comfortable for you. And I'm going to pull it through. You can, whoops, you can do this. So you can do this with a crochet hook. I'm just too lazy to get a hook out while I'm sitting here doing it. Now you can see that that's really tight. It's not a full stitch. Same as it's, you know, it hasn't got anywhere near as much spare yarn as that stitch has got. So what we're going to do is pop it on the needle, but then we're going to pass over the existing stitch, right? So there is our float looking, it's pulling on the fabric, so we've pulled it up quite tight to get it onto the needle. There is our stitch, obviously much looser. That's the amount of yarn that stitch should have. So we're going to pass the looped float over, and then so it goes like that. And then when we put it down, what we will see, and you can adjust the position of this because it's just literally caught, what you can see, and I hope you can see here that what we've actually done, we've actually put it over the base of that stitch from behind. So it's almost like if we were going the other way, what it would do is you'd be like knitting it together with the stitch below, but of course you couldn't do that because well, you could do, I guess, try, but that stitch hadn't been knitted yet. This yellow stitch didn't exist, and so we're actually just basically making an afterthought K2 together, or knitting that loop together with the stitch that was there. From this side you can't see it at all. All right, that's just not there. And let me just go back and knit those stitches, and then obviously we're going to bring that round and change color. And just I'll just knit to the end of the row quickly, and then I'll show you what it looks like Okay, so that's there. This is where we caught it here, so you can see what it actually does is it's actually just sitting right there. Let's see if I can bring it up closer and keep you in focus. Okay, that's pretty cool. My camera's not bad on this phone. So you can see that it's now just sitting between it's like it's been caught by the back of those 2 stitches. And there it is there. Look, it's not there. You can't see it at all. It's not there. It's invisible on the front. Tidy up there. Okay, so that's a way, and I did it there because obviously it has to jump from here to there and from there to there, and you do going this way is not so bad because when you knit across in this main color you can catch the yarn from this side, so here behind, okay, and it would catch up quite comfortably there. But going that way, when the going from that way, sorry, I'm not very good at left and right and left. I get them really muddled up, sorry. So they've got that way and this way. So yeah, we're going that way. Obviously, I hadn't knit these stitches. There was absolutely nothing to attach that float to. It had to just fly up across the back here. But now we've very neatly tucked it in, and it doesn't take any time at all. I mean, I only put one in because that's all it really needs. If you've got a long section of 15 stitches or more, then you can do it a couple of times. You want to make sure you're trying to maintain even tension. Doing it once is actually really not done much to it at all. Can't even tell it's happening.
And there you go. That's how you can manage your floats after the fact that have been created on the wrong side of the work when you need to bring a yarn round so that you can bring it to knit on the right side at a different point. I think it's quite a handy technique that you can use in lots of different situations beyond my sideways knit hats. Now, as I said before, that tutorial was originally recorded for my patrons back in 2019. My patrons normally get the kind of like first free tutorials and insights into developing new techniques. They also get background information about all sorts of stuff that's going on in my studio, especially stuff that I can't share if I'm working on top secret projects and things. If you are able to, we would love you to join us. My Patreon is one of my favorite places to be. It starts at $1 a month, and there are annual membership deductions as well. Please do the YouTube thing of liking, following, sharing, etc., because that will help me grow my YouTube channel and share these techniques with more people. Thanks again for following, and I hope it helps. See ya.